welcome to James Brown style lesson. Now, James Brown is one of the most iconic music figures of the 20th century, and often he's referred as the godfather of soul and godfather of funk. And he made a foundation for funk music back in the 60s with the songs like I Feel Good and Papa's Got a Brand New Bag. So after that, James Brown with his band produced so many legendary songs and many great funk songs and hits, which in return influenced many other funk artists as well. His music and vocal style were directly influencing young hip-hop artists too, and his songs, riff, drum grooves, breaks were one of the most sampled ever. James Brown became the most sampled artist ever, and his music continues to live on. In today's lesson, we will be covering all the important aspects of guitar playing in his songs. So join me this lesson and let's see what funky grooves we can come up with. And there were several important guitar player figures that back up James Brown throughout the years, and most notable ones being Jimmy Nolen in the 60s and Catfish Collins, brother of Bootsy Collins, that alongside with Bootsy followed James Brown from 1970, and the JB's backing band was formed then. In this lesson we will focus mostly on the work of Jimmy Nolen, as he was the initial creator of that famous James Brown style of funky guitar riffs and grooves. Nolen used mostly hollow body guitars that provided that hunky type of a tone, and a Fender Blackface style amp with a treble crank. This provided thin, cutting and percussive guitar sounds suitable for funk rhythm. Here's one similar setting now, and I'll use middle position of a Telecaster with a similar hunky type of a tone. Feel free to use any pick that you like. A thinner pick will provide additional flopping sound in your tone, while thicker pick will provide better attack and tone. First thing we're going to address is the picking hand or the strumming hand. And when playing funk, it's important to have the feel for the 16 notes. We will start a very simple exercise that will help us get the foundation for our funky rhythm playing. If we have an 80 beats per minute groove going on with a 4/4 time signature, it means we have 4 quarters in the bar. Now if we split those to 8s and then to 16s, now we have 16 notes within one bar. Let's try to play it on the guitar using only our strumming hand. First of all, try to keep your hand and wrist completely loose. The only force that is needed is the force that keeps the pick in your hand. Everything else is very relaxed, including the wrist. And you can mute the strings with your fretting hand for now. And let's use an 80 beats per minute tempo and start scratching first the quarter notes, then with the 8 notes, and then 16 notes. Okay, let's try it on a bit faster tempo as well, 100 beats per minute. And now let's get it up to speed to 120 beats per minute. Now, if you aren't too comfortable with this tempo, feel free to pause the video and spend a little bit more time with the metronome on lower tempos, gradually increasing to 120, which we will use for some of the examples in this lesson. Now let's focus on the fretting hand. Nolan and most funk players use jazz-style voicing, dominant 7th or 9th chords. Because the funk band usually had lots of instruments going on, guitar only needed to play some of these notes, and Nolan usually used top 3 strings for creating that thin sound. Here's a bit of theory for those of you who want to understand how these chords are actually made. Dominant chord is being derived out of Mixolydian mode, and in this lesson we will use E Mixolydian. By taking 1st, 3rd, 5th and 7th or 9th note of this scale, now let's see what simplified voicings we can use on the top strings. Here's an E7 here on the 4th fret. Here's another one. Here's E9 here, the fraction of an E9 here at the 7th fret. Another E7. E7 with the root on the G string. Here's another E9. And we will also use the 12th fret, all 3 strings on the 12th fret, E minor 7th chord as well. So these 7 voicings are something that you can use and combine to create some fun grooves. Now there are also a couple of moves that you can use for making those voicing more funky, and the ones that are characteristic to James Brown type of playing are 16-note slides like this. Or added high E string notes with these voicings. By combining these elements, you can come up with tons of different interesting patterns. Okay, let's talk about the chicken scratch tone a bit. This tone was developed by Nolan, and it involved fast muting technique with the fretting hand. Fret lightly the voicings and dampen the strings shortly after that to leave the scratching sound audible only. Instead of playing fuller voicings like this, try to play it more staccato-like. This is one of the important aspects of JB's guitar style that you should consider when making your own rhythmical patterns. In this part we will work a bit more on some important rhythmic patterns that define JB's guitar style. I'll play a couple of examples in half tempo and regular tempo, and feel free to follow me. And for detailed explanations you can find guitar profile alongside with the video and the backing tracks for jamming. In the last part, we will cover another important aspect of Nolan's guitar playing, and those are those intricate single note riffs. These are usually very simple 2-3 note repetitive riffs, but fitted very well within the arrangement. And for this, we will use E minor pentatonic over dominant voicing to create more of a bluesy feel. So let's start with simple examples of 16-note alternate picking. It can be played both clean or with wah pedal or with auto wah, depending on what you like. Now all the elements for this lesson can be combined to create some very cool patterns, but with funk guitar, it's important to keep it simple as well. Remember, guitar is one of many percussive elements in the funk band, so when creating a busy arrangement with many instruments, combining simple riffs will already make it sound complicated. When composing funk, make sure your guitar riffs are interlocked with other important instruments like drum, bass, or brass section, even keyboards. The primary goal is to make it fit all together. So keep practicing those combos and find a way to fit them within your own compositions or style.